Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Brendan Steele was last year's 54-hole leader in the Safeway Open, but finished with a final round 76. Yesterday, he redeems himself in the year's opening event on the PGA Tour, a final round 65. Steele claims his first win in over 5 years. We didn't get to see Tiger's new game on the course this past weekend, but you will see a new look for Tiger tonight. And she paved the way for a nation. Golf legend Se-Ri Pak retires in a hero send-off in South Korea. Hey there, welcome into Golf Central. Ryan Bird joined by Trip Eisenhower. Matt Adams, our insider, is Tim Rosafort. Guys, the much anticipated start to the season. It is back, it is here. The first event is in the books as we started off in the Napa Valley, and it would not disappoint. Let's flash back, though, Trip, to the 2015 Safeway Open. Brendan Steele, he had the 54-hole lead, but boy, tough Sunday.
Well, he did, in fact, and that would be his fourth bogey in his last 5 holes. On the 16th. He would shoot a final round 76.
And would finish in a tie for 17th at 10 under. So now we fast forward to yesterday. And Steele on 17, birdie putt.
Yeah, he got redemption on 16. He birdied there, and then this little tricky downhill putt breaking to the left just catches the left-hand side. And Brendan Steele's got 2 in a row going to the house.
And he's in a tie with Pat Gazzire at 17 under. Now Steele at 18, the par 5. This his third.
73 yards away, back hole location. Got to control your flight and your spin. Brendan Steele was doing that in full force all week long in Napa, and that leaves a beautiful look straight up the hill.
And give him 7 feet. That's what he would have left for the outright lead. Here you go.
Well, the putter's been a problem for Brendan Steele, but no problem on Sunday. Closes out with the hat trick.
And what a final round of 65. Now it's Gazzire on 18. His fourth. Has to hold this for the tie.
Just not a very good lie at all. Poor shot in. And actually an admirable chip. Had a chance, but he would be a runner-up.
So it is Steele that is once again in the victory circle on the PGA Tour as we compare 2015 and 2016 for the 54-hole leader. And Brendan Steele, a different man as he came from behind, tied for 6th, but a 76 to a 65 certainly would get it done as Brendan Steele a winner once again.
This one's awesome. I mean, home state, start the year out, know I'm going back to the Masters. That's all amazing. And then this is a little bit of redemption from last year. I led for 54 holes here last year and even into the back 9 and then really struggled. So it's nice to close it off this way. And then, you know, it's the first one with a short putter too, which I think is, I'm really proud of that. So making that transition's been a little tough.
Brendan talks about the short putter, talks about that transition. Hard to believe. 2016, first time, of course, where everyone had to make that transition from the anchored method to standard. Only 2 winners as of now. Still have a little over a couple months left. But Adam Scott and Brendan Steele, only 2 players that were anchored, that had to move, and won. Are you surprised by that number?
No, not really. I think there's going to be a bit of a transition period, and certain players it's definitely affected more than others. But again, these guys rebounded. They worked on their technique. We saw Brendan using the short putter last year in this tournament and using it last fall. He's putted with the short putter before, so it's just getting back to those kind of positions. But you look at his ball striking, it was beautiful all week long. But the big key, Ryan, was 1-putt percentage. Brendan Steele, he was 179th last year on the PGA Tour in 1-putt percentage. Well, he started out the 2017 season with a 3rd in that category. So huge difference on the greens. The ball striking there. Again, you go back to the short putter. I think that players, give them another year, and I think you'll see some of those players that had success anchored start to have success unanchored.
And no doubt more struggled than obviously won. Adam Scott for those 2 weeks in Florida obviously was red hot with the putter, and we saw Steele this past weekend. But for the most part, as we had 2016 really to think about that move, most of those guys that had to make the transition, Matt, struggled.
Yeah, and part of it was with Brendan, if you noticed, too, and you were alluding to it. He has that modified little claw grip going on the outside of the shaft. When you're moving from an anchored putter to a non-anchored putter, which a transition these guys all had to make, you really need to know, why am I making the move? If it was for the anchor point, if it was for the fulcrum and you liked the smooth putting stroke that it was, then you're probably going to have some success in making a transition. If it was because you tended to get a little bit nervy as you were making contact, an involuntary move, should I say the name?
Yeah.
No. If it was a little bit, maybe yips or pre-yips, if you will, maybe I just made up a name, pre-yips, then it's likely that you could have some more trouble in the transition back to the shorter putter, and in which case you've got the counterbalance putters. You do have some options that you can go with, Rosie, on top of the modification of the grip.
Dad reminded me today, guys, that in U.S. Open qualifying, in 14, he switched between the opening 18 and the second 18, telling his caddy, I got to learn how to putt with a regular putter. You mentioned counterbalanced. Rick Smith told me today that he experimented with a counterbalanced grip. He's gone through all these permutations of it till he ultimately found something that won a golf tournament for him. And it's a good thing he made some putts, guys, because if you think about had that tournament gone any longer, it would have gone into Monday. He had 27 players in that field, wanted to get on a plane to Malaysia last night, 24 in the field itself, in the tournament proper. So he made a lot of friends, not only made himself happy, but made a lot of tour pros happy by closing that out.
I'll tell you, it will be interesting in the new season if any of the PGA Tour guys go to what Bernhard Langer did. We thought more people might stick with the long putter that were successful, but really it was just Langer that tried that and obviously worked out pretty good for him. Not a great day for Patton Kizzire as the 54-hole leader the last 2 years here at the Safeway Open, really struggling in their final round. We told you about Steele. For Kizzire, not what he had hoped for. But Rosie, you think about it, he's 30 years old. This is really the first time he has really been in the heat of it Sunday on the PGA Tour. How will his background help him take this as a positive?
Well, he's a late bloomer, and he was a rookie at age 29. He grew up in Tuscaloosa, went to Auburn, stayed in Auburn after college, and there was just too many distractions there for him. So it was ultimately moving to Sea Island, getting closer to Randy Myers, getting closer to Todd Anderson, having Davis Love as your mentor. All this stuff played into him getting a little bit more serious about the game. And he was always a great putter, going back to when he was a kid. He always knew he wanted to be a golfer. In second grade, he painted a picture of himself, told the second grade teacher that I'm going to play golf and I'm never going to change my mind. And it turns out he has, through a lot of perseverance, obviously. He was on mini tours for years, totally lost his confidence, and he was way below the web.com. I mean, he was just trying to get appearances and reps and confidence going, and ultimately it's paid off for him.
And one of the things he should probably look at this as a glass half full scenario, because he was fighting his golf swing all day on Sunday. He only hit 4 fairways. You saw it coming down the stretch when he needed to get to a couple of those par 5s. He was unable to find the fairways. Again, when you're struggling with your swing and you still have a chip shot to win a golf tournament, that's a glass half full scenario. He's going to win on the PGA Tour, maybe not this season, but he's going to draw on what happened this weekend in the future.
That heat for the first time.
Yeah.
That's nothing like
Put it in the bank. Put it in the bank.
We'll see if
you know, last night, I got to get this in.
Yeah.
At the Sacramento airport, about 11 o'clock, everybody's waiting to get on a red eye, and guys having a couple of beers, Billy Haas, some other players, and Kizzire comes in there, and there was no, like, everybody was not feeling uncomfortable. There was a lot of knuckle bumping, handshaking, patting on the back, because, you know, they all know how hard it is to win out. Johnson Wagner was there, a bunch of caddies. They all know how hard it is, especially the first time through trip. I mean, you've experienced that, right? And, you know, he went through the crucible. He didn't come out on the other side with the win, but at the same time, you feel like, we know the history of golf, Ryan. Guys are going to learn from experiences like this. He's got game. Yeah. He's going to apply it next time, just same way Brendan Steele did a year ago to winning the golf tournament yesterday.
That paycheck will help soften the blow just a bit. Well, of course, Tiger Woods had to withdraw from the Safeway Open this week, saying his game wasn't quite ready for competition. Today, he announced the formation of a new enterprise that will encompass all of his initiatives. TGR combines under one title Woods Foundation, his design company, and his restaurant. Tiger is saying he spent nearly 2 years developing TGR. Guys, do you believe that this has anything to do with Tiger moving away from playing golf and a new focus on the business of the game?
I think the business of the game for Tiger Woods has been there. I don't necessarily think that I think this development was going to happen whether he had played this weekend and whether he won this weekend. I think a lot of people are reading it trying to connect it to, could this be Tiger kind of exiting the game this way? I do think there's merit in looking at what Jack Nicklaus did with Golden Bear Enterprises, looking at what Greg Norman did with Great White Shark Enterprises, looking at what Arnold Palmer did and everything under his famed umbrella. That's what I think is going on here. Tiger's going to be the chairman of the board. He's excited about where he's going with the future of all of his endeavors. He's excited. One of the things I thought was interesting about product development was a part of the press release that came out today. So I think this is the next stage for Tiger, but it doesn't mean that the playing active stage is going to be left behind right now. He's still desperately, according to what he said, wants to be out there.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question he wants to be there, and he was probably very disappointed he was unable to play. But again, this is beyond golf, because we know golf, you can't play a long time, but you're not going to play forever, and that business part of it, Tiger is going to be very successful, and it's just a conglomeration of all his different stuff. I think it's a smart move, and Matt, to your point, this was going to happen regardless of whether he was playing golf or not.
He says this is about his legacy outside the ropes.
And we know about his legacy inside. Has a long time to continue that legacy away from the playing course. Still to come, Phil Mickelson. He plays well again this weekend, not well enough to win. Will Mickelson's last victory in 2013. John Feinstein speaks to what it will take for Phil to win again on the PGA Tour. And she paved the way for a nation. Golf legend Say-Ri Pak retires. Much more on her when we continue.
Golf Central is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball at the Safeway Open. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. Arcos, advanced GPS and distance tracking for every shot.